Alright guys, so this is going through and introducing us up to Nanoflo. So this is how we're going to be programming our Arduinos. So if we have a look and what we see on here, we've got a home button at the top, we've got emulator next, and then flowchart. So if we start over at emulator, the home, we can hit make a screenshot, save our work, or load something we've made before. We're going to start in at emulator. So we don't need to do this yet because we're not connecting our device just yet, but we need to be able to have our device selected. So as long as your Arduino is connected, you should then be able to choose our Nano. You should be able to then see something come up. It might say CH340, it might say FTDI, it might have a different combination, but our USB serial will have a name that is red that is not telling us read port name. So select the one that you have and hit OK on that. I'm going to leave that because we're just going to be doing some simulation in this. So our flowchart is the next space that we're going to have a look at. This is the bit that once we're ready and we're happy with it, we can actually load it on so it can run without the computer attached. So that's quite cool. We can push it onto our Arduino and then it can just run with a battery pack attached, not the computer. But flowchart is where we're going to be. So we've got our start, we've got a stop. Now for ours, it's probably not going to use a stop. A stop is going to be just a forever loop and just run until we turn it off. We're going to ignore the subroutine for the moment, and we've got delay. So because computers run so fast, sometimes we actually need to slow them down and pause it at a time to be able to see what's happening. We've got decision. So if there's two things that are going to happen, and we're going to need that one, and then an output. So we make something happen, and then we've got a variable to check there as well. So we're probably not going to play with this one just yet, but let's get in and have a look at how we can make our nice basic LED LDR work here. So if we remember, there's our circuit. We've got A0 attached to our LDR, and we've got D3 attached through here. So they're the two key things that we need over here. We come back over into our output. So that's happy, we've got that one set up. What we're going to do here is we're going to change that name. So that's going to be our LEDs. Okay, so he's now named. It just helps us remember what we're doing. Down here, I'm going to change to analog, and he's going to be my LDR. So now I've got my two pins located, and I know what I'm going to use. I'm going to start building my flowchart. So I'm going to start with a start button, and then from there, if we think about what we're doing, we need to check what the LDR is doing. So I'm going to make a decision next. Now I can just drag it down anywhere, but if I drag it onto, so sort of on the edge of that one, he's going to then add on our arrow straight away. So now what I want to check is my LDR, and this is something that we need to do a little bit of testing on, and where it needs to be, if it's greater than or less than. We're not going to use a pin this time, we're going to use a number. So I'm just going to put smack bang in the middle for the moment. So 512 is in the middle of the value it could be. You're going to have to check what value you want to be the trigger to turn your LEDs on or off. So I've just chosen greater than 512. I can go back and change that when I need to. So he's there, that's good. So then, if it is greater, what do I want to happen? So a decision always has to have two arms out of it. Everything else only has one. So I'm going to then go output, and I want the LEDs to turn on if it's greater than that. And then if it's not, I want the LEDs to turn off. And he's decided to go both off No, and that's unhelpful. So I'm going to put LEDs off. So from there, that's the only change there. I'm going to add in a delay. I'm going to go down here, and that's going to be, I'm just going to go 50 milliseconds. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that down there. Hopefully he lets me go there as well. And then I can bring that up to here. So he's going to keep checking through. Is the LDR greater? If it is, turn it on. If it's not, turn it off. So now I'm going to simulate that. So now I can sort of play with the values over here. I can turn things on and off over here manually if I want to. So if I was connected to that, I could actually then go and turn those on and off. But I'm just simulating at the moment. If you go to the emulator, I'm going to hit play. And you can see we can't change those now. But what it does is it's going to run through. So if I want to slow that down, I can make that really slow. So I can see what's happening. So at the moment you can see my LDR value is below that. So it keeps going here. If I put that above my 500, it's going to go there. And we should see that value go through to turning LEDs on. Okay, so we can see now as that adjusts, I'm not sure why he decided not to play just before, but we can see that he rotates through nice and happily. So if I change it to high, I go low, he turns off, and we can see he turns on over here. Now, that's the most basic that we could make this work. Now there's a few things that we could do that's a little bit cooler than that. So we could have it so when it turns on, we could have him dim down or dim up. So what I'm going to show you is, instead of just having, so I'm going to turn that off now. If I have this as a PWM instead of just an input, I've got some variety of how I can turn that on and off. So I'm going to change that to being an LED. And then this is where we can get a bit funky. So instead of just having output, I'm going to delete that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a subroutine that we're going to then run over here. So I'm going to call this, oh, hang on, we're not going to use a subroutine yet. They're going to go down here. I'm going to create a new routine, and I'm going to call this light up. Okay, and then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do an output, and I'm going to set that to a variable. So I'm going to go, so this is a little bit trickier if you're wanting to get a bit further, but we could add a variable, and I want that to be starting, and this is going to be lighting up, so I'm going to start that at 0. Save that. So A is equal to 0. Then what I want to be able to do here is I want to make that slowly increase over here. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to say let A equal 0, and then I want to be able to say a decision under here, and I want to be able to see is 0 equal to, I'm going to make that number 255, so that's fully turned on. If it is, so yes it is there, we are going to stop that subroutine. If it is not, we are going to continue to change this one. So we're going to say A becomes, where's our variable A, plus 1. Okay, so output equals that. He's going to go there. And then our output is equal to A. And then we can bring that guy through. And then we're going to come back up to here. So we're going to keep checking through, and it's going to increase each time. And I didn't finish turning that one to A, so save that. So what we might find we need to do is I need just a little pause in there. So I'm going to do a little delay, and let's just go 10 milliseconds. All right, and then we can bring that up to attach back up there. So now this guy here, so if it is lighter, I want to turn it on. So he's going to go and attach to this, and he is going to be our lighter, and I want that to loop one time. Let me pick that, delete him, and if it's no, we're just going to turn him off. So then we can go our output, just stay with that one, set that to 0, save. So we'll keep him simple. So he goes there, and then we can go and check it again. So now if I play that, what we'll see is that's higher. I'm going to bring that down, and there it goes. So you can see it's running through, and it's slowly increasing up. We might find that that's a bit slow, but you can see it's starting to go up as we go through, and you could always obviously adjust that on how fast or how slow that goes by changing that number or changing the delay. But we can see he's running up nice and as we wanted it to, until it gets to 255, and then it's going to stop and jump back out into checking it again. So I'll drop that LDR now. You can see he's back to turning it off. So that's our LED LDR wiring or flowchart.